Hello and welcome. Today I'm at the North Sea Observatory, which was built in 2018, and it's a purpose-built marine observatory sitting on Chapel Point, adjacent to some fabulous south-facing beach huts. It's open all year round and has a cafe and an art gallery and great views over the North Sea. My name's Helen Millington, and today I'm going to talk about speech and the voice. When we're speaking to businesses, giving a sales presentation, hosting an event, at a meeting, or simply showing someone round a property, it's important that we project our voice appropriately. In order to do that, we need to ensure we are breathing properly for speech. And I'm going to start to talk today about breathing, because what we do with our voice essentially all begins with our breathing. The breathing supports everything. So you might say to me, Helen, why are you trying to teach me about breathing? I've been doing it quite successfully for X amount of years and I've kept myself alive. So the kind of breathing that you do to keep you alive is very different to the kind of breathing you do for effective voice. And I'll demonstrate that as we go along. So the kind of breathing that we do to keep us alive is called tidal breathing or clavicular breathing. Your clavicle, your collarbone here, we tend to breathe into the top third of our lungs. And actually what we need to be doing is using the whole of our lungs, which are a huge organ actually, if you use them correctly. And tidal breathing is fine for normal life. However, when you start to need to use your voice correctly, you need to be able to employ something different. So there's a different kind of breathing technique which we use when we're creating safe and effective vocal work. And that's called intercostal diaphragmatic breathing. And that's the most safe and effective breathing technique that we can have for vocal production. When we are doing intercostal diaphragmatic breathing, this requires a whole new set of skills, and it requires us to use a set of muscles that we don't normally use in everyday life. And those are called your intercostal muscles. And as it sounds, inter means in between, and costal refers to your ribs. So they're the muscles that sit either side of your ribs, some at the front, some at the back. And they allow the rib cage to move up and out as we breathe in, and down and together as we breathe out. So if we didn't have the intercostal muscles in between each of the ribs, the rib would be a stationary thing. The rib cage would go nowhere. So we need those muscles to allow us to open up and then close again the rib cage when we're doing safe and effective breathing. The second thing is the diaphragm. So the diaphragm is an organ which sits largely in the center of the abdomen, and it's a separating device. It separates everything in the upper abdomen from everything in the lower abdomen, and it stops those things coming together. And when we're breathing, or when we're at rest, our diaphragm sits in a slightly upwardly domed position like this. And as we breathe in, if we're doing it correctly, the diaphragm moves down and out of the way. And then again, as we breathe out, it comes back to its domed resting position. And that's essentially how we create that intercostal diaphragmatic breathing, and those are the organs that we use in order to make that happen. So the main component in safe and effective vocal work is breathing, and it's so important that we get that breathing right in order to support this correct and effective speech. And your speech is one of the first things that people notice about you, and people will make a decision about you based on that. So you want to present your business and yourself in a way that makes people confident about taking you on. And that is one of the main reasons that we talk about breathing and speech. So what we need to do when we start practicing our breathing exercises is we have to have a nice strong stance. So I'd like us to stand with our feet shoulder width apart, and there's a reason for that. If you stand with your feet close together like this, what we're doing then is we're actually stressing the abdominal muscles. Those abdominal muscles are now considering how to keep us upright, how to keep us standing, and they become tense. And we don't want them to be tense, we need them to be relaxed. So by standing with the feet shoulder width apart, we are relaxing those core muscles and we are allowing them to be now working for us as part of our breathing rather than part of our balance. So, with the feet nice and wide apart, nice strong stance, we rest one hand on the stomach. And all that does really is it draws our attention to that area. It brings your awareness into the stomach, which is where you should be feeling your breathing. Not up here, not in the chest, but down here in the stomach. Okay? So next, I would like everybody to take a smooth, deep breath in through the nose. Hold it very briefly at that point. And then breathe out slowly and with control through the mouth. And the reason that we focus on breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth is that it gives you a lot more control. Practicing having control of that out breath is really very important, because if you were to breathe in and then just let all of the breath out in one go, you've got nothing left to create your good vocal work with. So it's really important that we breathe in through the nose and then out through the mouth. Okay, so we practice that around 3 times. So you would do 3 repetitions. Never do more than about 3 repetitions in one go because you can get slightly lightheaded. But that's your first basic breathing exercise that will start to bring an awareness to that stomach area and the fact that you need to be breathing down into the body, not close up in the chest. So as we mentioned, the gold standard for breathing techniques for safe and effective vocal production is intercostal diaphragmatic breathing. And then as a more in-depth breathing technique, something that once you start to get your practice a bit better and you want something a bit better, again, stand with your feet shoulder width apart, place one hand on the tummy, and this time breathe deeply but feel the breath drop down into the body. I want you to really feel that breath moving down into the body. It's a visualization technique and it does really help you to feel that you are getting the breath into the right place. As I said before, the lungs are huge. They are a big organ, and to fill them takes a lot more air than you're perhaps used to. So don't be afraid to really feel that air going down into the body. So again, pop the hand on the tummy and through the nose, take a lovely deep breath in and feel it dropping down into the body. Really feel that stomach coming forward. Feel the rib cage moving up and outward on the in-breath. And then feel it dropping down and inward on the out-breath. And if it helps, as you probably noticed that as I did just there, purse your lips slightly on the out-breath. The reason that helps is because we have more control. The mouth is a very flexible and strong organ, and I will come on to the organs of speech in a little while. But the organs of speech need time to create the shapes that we want them to create. So we need that control over the breath, and that can be achieved with a little bit of a pursing of the lips. So breathe in And breathe out with slightly pursed lips. Lovely. You'll find you have a lot more control if you do that. So I hope you enjoyed our first session, and I'd like for you to join me for our second, where I will go into some more detail about some more breathing exercises.